In this lecture, we are going to show you how to create a new project in Android Studio. This is a quite easy process. The first thing you should do is to run Android Studio. Now at the time of this recording, the latest version of Android Studio is 2.2, and I have downloaded this version from Google and installed it. In this version, there are a couple of features added to Android Studio, and it is also much faster than version 2 and 2.1. I recommend that you always keep your Android Studio and Android SDK up to date. Okay, to create a new project, click on Start a new Android Studio project. I do this. You see that the Create New Project window opens up for me. In the application name section, select a name for your project. For example, I type in material design. Make sure you capitalize the first letter of your project name. If I change the first letter of material to small letter, you see that Android Studio shows an error for me. In addition to this, whatever name that you enter in the section will be your project name. And when you intend to get an output from your project, you can change your application name, and therefore your project name is different from your application name. After entering your project name in this section, in the company name part, you should enter the company name or the name of your website. For example, I enter company domain as udemy.com. The next section is about your application package. You see that package name is automatically completed by the two above sections. If you are going to change your application package, click on Edit and enter the name that you want over here. Please note that the package name that you are entering here must be unique. That is, you should select a name that no other person has already used. That's because when you get output from your project and want to publish your application on Google Play, your package name must be different from other packages of Google Play. Okay, if you are using C++ codes in your project, be sure to activate the Include C++ support option. As I'm not using C++ code in this course, there's no need for me to activate this option. In the section for project location, you should choose the place for storing your project. Okay, I click on this option and go to Documents. Here I create a new folder and name it as Material Design Projects. Make sure you're not using space in the name for your project location. Okay, I click on OK. From now on, we will store all projects that we create in this course in this location. In this stage, you determine that when you get output from your project, what platform and which Android version your project will be run on. By default, Android Studio has selected phone and tablet for platform. That means that when you get output from your project, your application will be run on smartphones and tablets. In addition to this, there are also other platforms that are defined in this section. For example, smartwatches, smart TVs, smart automobiles, and or glasses or Google's smart glasses. You can actually activate any of these platforms that you need. In this course, I will create all projects with the phone and tablet platform only. After platform, you should specify the minimum SDK. Minimum SDK is the minimum Android version that will be able to run your application. By selecting this option, you choose when you get output from your project the minimum version of Android supported by your application. Note that the lower your minimum SDK is, the fewer your application features will be. By default, Android Studio has chosen minimum SDK as API 15 or Android 4, and almost 97.4% of the smartphones in the market support this version of Android. Therefore, all the applications that we will create in this course will support API 15 or Android 4 and higher. Okay, click on Next. In this step, Android Studio asks you to add an activity to your project. From this list, you can choose the activity that you want. I choose empty activity. This is the simplest Android activity, and I recommend that if you want to learn Android well and become a professional Android developer in the future, choose this one. Click on Next. In the final step, you can change the activity name and its layer name that I leave it as is. Finally, I click on Finish and your project will be created. I'm going to wait until Android Studio creates my project. Alright, our project was created successfully. That's it for this lecture. See the rest of tutorials in the next session.